Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast. I just finished the blog. I'm going to read most of it to you. I'm going to add a little color commentary on the podcast. I call it the USA, the United States of Amazon, and how it's killing small businesses. So it took Amazon over 9 years to generate a profit. 9 years. It was founded in 1994. And Amazon funded the losses by going public by 1997. And then when Amazon needed more money, they issued corporate bonds. If you're not familiar with how corporate bonds work, publicly traded companies will issue bonds, basically a debt, and offer a slightly higher interest rate than government bonds. And if there's enough interest because of the stability, if the lenders feel that there's enough stability with the company, they'll lend the money and buy the bonds. And so Amazon has never had a problem with raising money through bonds. And just as recently as June 2020, Amazon sold $10 billion in bonds. With a B, 10 billion, with maturity dates anywhere between 3 and 40 years. So they just borrowed $10 billion and are paying it off 3 to 40 years with interest rate of 0.4% to 2.7%. So they're getting not only the opportunity to raise money, but also at a very, very low rate. Now, privately held small businesses do not have the ability to raise money like Amazon. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. And another thing that I don't have to tell you is privately held businesses cannot survive 9 consecutive years of losses. However, another thing I probably don't have to tell you is that small businesses are forced to compete with Amazon. It's an unfair playing field for small businesses. The game is rigged because Amazon has the ability to decrease their prices below cost, knowing they can afford to take the loss, while many small businesses fail. Amazon could literally bring their prices below cost because they know they can always raise more money. So they can essentially lose money for years and kill small businesses everywhere, kill the competition. And then eventually what they can do is raise their prices. Amazon is the COVID-19 for small businesses. And now as the free money in the form of PPP has run out, we're really going to experience the true impact of the recession, which we're going to see in 2021. And believe me, with the calls that I'm getting, I'm beginning to see some version of it already. There have been predictions that as many as 52% of all small businesses will fail due to the impact of COVID-19. As well as the acceleration of COVID-friendly internet purchasing, once again because of COVID-19, on sites like Amazon. Now, I don't expect a 52% failure rate because I know small businesses are more resilient than many people want to give them credit for. But I do expect it to be as high as 30%, which means tens of millions of Americans will remain unemployed. And tens of millions more will be underemployed working for low wages and low benefit businesses like Amazon. Standard Oil Company, owned by John D. Rockefeller, was the largest oil refinery in the early 1900s. It dominated the market initially through horizontal integration in the refining sector, which means that they just eventually just bought out the competition. And then they grew vertically to the point where they were doing everything in the oil refinery business, to the point of selling the gas at the gas station. Standard Oil became a monopoly, the 800-pound gorilla, and performed unfair business practices such as initiating price wars by selling it below cost to weaken competitors and buy them out at depressed prices. Then, with control of the market, prices could be raised to enjoy the monopolistic profits. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like Amazon? Well, in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and broke the company up. Amazon is today's Standard Oil. Amazon is practicing monopolistic tendencies and killing small businesses everywhere. As much as I want to say we should get some form of government intervention, anything that the government will do would take years and won't help the millions of small businesses that are failing today, and also the tens of millions of Americans that will be without work. There's nothing the government can do today. And even if they started working on it today, it would take years. So small business owners like you are too smart to be part of the failures. You're far more resilient and resourceful. More important than ever, you must continue to focus on what's in your control. I'm truly beginning to see the recession for what it really is. On a weekly basis, I am having conversations with business owners who need help managing their dwindling cash flow. Business owners who need help with making decisions on what employees to lay off or furlough now that the PPP has run out again. Business owners who are paralyzed because of all the uncertainty due to the election and COVID-19. I've never in my 25 years experienced a time where business owners can't predict next month's sales, let alone next year's. Business owners literally can't get in the door of their own customers, which is making it harder than ever to get into the door of potential new customers. Uncertainty on a potential second spike of COVID-19 and the election has left many business owners fearful because so much is out of their control. I mean, it is ridiculous out there right now. You know, as a side note, I was talking to Jen Kuhn, the owner of Hamburg Overhead Door, and she told me about a big box store, one of the big box stores, who has a national bid out for most of their stores. She's bidding on 3 of them, but there's a national bid out for most of their stores to have overhead doors for their front door and their front windows. And one of the conditions of this bid is that those doors have to be installed no later than the day before the election. That's how scared people are right now. It is cheaper for this big box store to pay for all of these overhead doors versus perhaps having a brick through that window and then people just rushing in. There is so much uncertainty out there. So many people are scared about what's going on. So my advice is simple and unwavering. It's the same advice I've been giving since day one of the quarantine back in March. Focus on what's in your control. Focus on rolling weekly cash flow. Forecast it out for at least 12 weeks. Cash is still king. And everything is uncertain. So you got to keep your finger on that cash pulse. Rolling P&L forecasting by month for 12 months. 12-month rolling P&L forecast. I know it's hard to predict the future right now. It is hard to predict next month's sales. I mean, it's almost impossible to predict 12 months of sales, but you have to do it. And you have to do it every month, because every month you're going to learn more, and it's going to adjust what you had forecasted a month prior. Every month you have to do it. Offer the best service and quality to your current customers to ensure that you don't lose them. You can't afford to lose a customer right now. You have to give the best quality, best service than ever before. It is so hard to get into the door of anybody's business. So it is more important than ever to hang on to what you have. Reach out to customers you haven't performed work for lately. It is almost impossible to get into new customers. So reach out to the customers that you have had, that you haven't heard from in a long time, because at least you built some trust there. At least you have somebody to talk to. At least you know who to call. Start there. That's your best bet to getting more business. To improve your chances to sell, one last thing here. To improve your chances to sell, don't forget that during these COVID times, old is new again. So any opportunity to meet face-to-face is more powerful than ever. If the person that you're meeting is willing to meet face-to-face at a restaurant, that is a powerful meeting today. It is very powerful. So do your best at face-to-face. Oh, and one last thing. Buy Amazon stock. I know. Sounds a little hypocritical here. But just remember this. When Standard Oil was forced to break up, several of the companies that it became were ExxonMobil, Marathon Petroleum, Amoco, and Chevron. Just imagine the amazing companies that would come out of Amazon if it were forced to break up. You might as well own a few shares of that stock. Anyways, good luck. Do what's in your control. And I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you that once we get past COVID, and we will, and once you survive, there will be less competitors out there, and you will be able to take advantage of so much opportunity. And I can't wait for that day. I hope you have a great day. Take care.